Namaste, dear students. Let's see what we are going to study today. Today we are going to study grade 12 English language, and under it we have got section 2 literature section, where we have the first lesson Neighbours by Team Winton. So how we are going to study, it's going to be a very interesting, and we have some pattern to do that as well, so it will be easier for us to deal with any of the stories later on, any of the genres later on in our class. So first we have about the author, theme and suggestions. Then after that we have plot, story or summary. Then we have analysis of the text, and then we do have exercises, and finally how we are gonna do exercises. That too has a pattern, like about the author, summary, satisfying the question, that means answering the questions, and concluding with a personal touch that we would be discussing in a separate video, especially based on exercise. So we would be studying more on about the author, theme and suggestions, plot and synopsis, summary of the story, and the analysis of the lesson Neighbours by Team Winton. So let's go about it. Okay, one thing that I would like to note down, or I would like to inform everybody, is that we are using this text, this reference, just for academic purpose, not for any commercial or any other stuff. So happy enlightenment. Let's begin. Neighbours by Tim Winton, and you have the picture out here. About the author, Timothy John Winton was born on 4th August 1960, is an Australian writer. He has written novels, children books, non-fiction books, and short stories. His style of writing is, he prefers to think of himself as an ordinary Australian. He shies away from all the publishing glitch and befriends the labourers, musicians, social workers, and the unemployed. I write about small places and about people in small situations, he says. By the age of 10, Tim had already decided that he was destined to write. He loved reading and also was developing a deep love of the ocean. In his first year of high school, Winton's family moved to the town of Albany in the great southern regions of Western Australia. Winton draws his prime inspiration from landscape and place, mostly coastal Western Australia. He has said, the place comes first. If the place isn't interesting to me, then I can't feel it. I can't feel any people in it. More about what he's written in our textbook about the author is this one. He has actually written some of the texts. He has even competed with 35 other novelists when his manuscript, unpublished manuscript, was in the competition. So he won the prize in 1982 for the same. His manuscript, An Open Swimmer, was proved to be best. His novels include That Eye, the Sky in 1986, Dirt Music 2001, and Breath 2008. He also wrote several children's books, including Lucky Leonard, Human Torpedo 1990, The Bugalog's Bum Thief 1991, and The Deep 1998. This story, Neighbours, has been taken from Migrants of Australia, edited by Howard Lawler. So Howard Lawler has edited this text. It is a story about a newly married couple living in a multicultural and multilingual suburb neighborhood. It shows that cultural and linguistic barriers cannot stop people from bestowing love and compassion. So we will move on to the theme of the story. The question states, what are the themes of Neighbours by Team Winton? So focusing on basic themes, we have first, overcoming of cultural differences and uniting. That's one of the main ideas. And secondly, we have the living standards of the people. Thirdly, we have peaceful cohabitation with the natives. And finally, we have a transition in sociocultural variation, and adapting is a little bit difficult in this situation. So We are moving towards a plot or the summary. What the summary of the story is. First, we have the title Neighbours by Tim Winton, and it goes like this. The short story Neighbours, written by Tim Winton, deals with a young couple who have moved to a new suburb where a lot of European immigrants live. At first, they only see the strange and sometimes disgusting customs of their new neighborhood. So, both the young couple, and their neighbors have prejudices. But after a while, they are getting used to their new surroundings, and the young couple starts liking the neighbors and notice that they aren't that bad at all. They find out that they can be friends and that they can help each other in their everyday lives, so that everybody is satisfied with their neighborhood and their life. In the story, the author does not use names for the characters he describes. Thus, the characters are not defined, and the result of that is that the characters can be regarded as role models for everybody. The young couple lived in expansive outer suburbs before they moved. First, they feel like sojourners and don't talk to anyone. So they call the so-called young man stays at home and writes his thesis of development of the 20th century novel. The young woman works in a hospital. After that, the whole neighborhood starts to talk with them and they offer their help. So the young couple becomes proud of the neighbors. Although the couple has not planned on a pregnancy, the young woman is pregnant in spring, and after a short while, their neighbors become aware of it. Everybody offers their help and they are very polite. After the birth of their child, all the neighbors are excited, and wish their best. The birth is a wonder for the young man, and at the end, he realizes that the 20th century novel had not prepared him for this. The story shows that immigrants can be seen as a social enrichment to Australian society. Their great sense of community helps the couple to understand that ignorance, prejudice, and discrimination are based on ignorance. So we can still go forward with the analysis. So analysis, when it comes to analysis, how to analyze, we usually see the good aspects and bad aspects of the entire text and purpose of the text. Probably we also look into what problems, what situation is there around the world in reference to this particular lesson. So the question is, how does Tim Winton's short story Neighbours explore the transition of individuals into new phases of life and new social contexts? Okay, so let's get into it to answer this question. We do have several one. First one, here it goes. New experiences shock and captivate readers, consequently prompting a reassessment of their perceptions of respect, truth, friendships. Tim Winston's short story Neighbours confronts individual stereotypes through exploring the multicultural context in which the story is set. Winton explores the transition of a young couple into a new phase of life by describing their move to a lower socio-economic suburb full of European migrants. The composer does not name the characters, rather calls them the Macedonian family and the policeman in order to show their cultural differences and highlight. This is shown through the emotive language of people smile tirelessly at them and the positive connotations associated with verbs. Presence. Winton challenges the audience to question their individual perspective upon society's moral truths and forces the revaluation of the values of mateship, that is friendship. The composer is critiquing Australia's fractured historical truth through confronting multiculturalism in society. Furthermore, Winton explores aspects of cultural acceptance through showing the naivety of the young couple. The young man and young women are symbolic of the lack of experience in the world and leaves them open to develop and mature as they experience different aspects of the world. Thus, composers confront widely held perspectives regarding mateship and acceptance from or revelation of Australia's multicultural society. Now new experiences prompt individuals to reconsider their upheld values in the social context in which they are placed. Tim Winton's short story Neighbours questions Australia's social discourse by exploring the transition of individuals into a new phase of life. Winter challenges society's ignorance and cultural stereotypes by displaying a provocative new experience which has the ability to manipulate and change individuals' perspective. Okay, society's ignorance can be seen in this society in this particular story, which will be solved anyways as they are cooperating in the society and they develop the human nature, humane feeling in the society to cope with. Okay, that was the first one. So if we have to go with the second analysis, we do have third, we do have fourth. So let's go into the second analysis. Neighbours by Tim Winton. The short story Neighbours, written by Tim Winton, is about a young couple who have moved to a new suburb where a lot of European migrants live. First, both the young couple and their neighbors have prejudices, but after a while they find out that they can be friends and that they can help each other in their daily lives, so that everybody is happy and satisfied with their neighborhood uh, and their life. In the story, the author does not use names for the character he describes, thus the characters are not defined, and the result of that is that the characters can be regarded as the role models for everyone. The young couple lived in expansive outer suburbs before they moved, but first they feel like sojourners and don't like to talk to anyone. So the so-called young man stays at home and writes his thesis on the development of the 20th century novel. The young man works in a hospital, but in autumn their life changes because they start to plant vegetables. After that, the whole neighborhood starts to talk about them and they offer their help. So the young couple becomes proud of their neighbors. Although the couple has not planned on a pregnancy, the young woman is pregnant in spring, and after a short while, the neighbors become aware of it. Everybody offers their help and they are very polite. After the birth of their son, all the neighbors are excited and wish their best. The birth is a wonder for the young man, and at the end, he realizes that the 20th century novel had not prepared him for this. The story shows them that immigrants can be seen as social enrichment to Australian society. Their great sense of community helps the couple to understand that ignorance, prejudice, and discrimination are the based on ignorance. Okay, going to the third analysis. Neighbours by Tim Winton is a very short, very short story about a young couple moving into a new neighborhood. They notice that their new home was full of European migrants and don't feel quite at home in the beginning, always having to listen to the loud conversation of their next door neighbors, a Macedonian family, and the hammering of their other next door neighbor, a Polish widow. As at first they only see the strange and sometimes disgusting customs of their new neighborhood. After getting used to their new surrounding, the young couple starts liking their neighbors and notice that they aren't that bad at all. When the woman becomes pregnant, the neighbors immediately find out about it and start giving the young couples present and good tips. The couple isn't used to that friendliness and is really surprised when the whole neighborhood celebrates the arrival of the new baby. I choose this short story liking or thinking about the many many immigrants living in Australia, and they're living together peacefully. The story shows how many people from different countries can live peacefully together although they have a different lifestyle. There are a lot of migrants in Australia who moved there because of various reasons like war, the Great Depression, political reasons, and just because they started loving the country. Analysis number 4. A fascinating look at the lives of a young couple who had just moved to Melbourneian suburb, Neighbours, by Tim Winton is a must-read novel. As a consequence of their trials and tribulations, the reader gains an understanding of the many values and attitudes connected with various aspects of Australian multicultural culture. In contrast to Australians, the book covers the varied lifestyles of Australia's ethnic minorities, and we can see how an author builds a text by just reading it. I love the beginning. Following their first adjustment period, the young couple becomes fond of their new neighbors and learns that they are not all bad people. A pregnancy occurs in the spring despite the fact that the couple had not one intended for one, and their neighbors become aware of it after just a short period of time. As soon as a woman finds out she's pregnant, her neighbors are informed and immediately begin showering presents and advice on her and her husband. Afterwards, the whole community starts to engage in conversation with them and give them help. Consequently, the young couple is pleased with their neighbors. All of their neighbors are overjoyed for them and wish them nothing but the best following the birth of their child. 20th century literature had not prepared for this for him. The young man realizes at the conclusion of the story after witnessing the birth of his daughter. The couple is used to used to such love and is taken aback when the whole neighborhood comes together to celebrate the birth of their new baby. Well, the main theme of the short story is that the living standards of the vast number of immigrants who live in Australia, as well as their peaceful cohabitation with the natives of the country. The 20th century novel had not prepared him for this, is a theme. Conclusion, message, gist of the story. The story illustrates how immigrants may make a positive contribution to Australia's social structure. Because of their strong feelings of belonging, the couple is able to see that ignorance, prejudices, and discriminations are all the results of a lack of information. The story shows how many people from many different countries may live peacefully together despite having different lives. To conclude, the readers have different experiences with Tim Winton's Neighbours depending on how we understand and interact with the text. You may make a difference by contributing to a varied reading experience in a variety of ways. As per your wish, the significance of the character is the book. In the book, their cultural roots, our own lives, morality and values, and the importance of the text's characters are all instances of this. Okay, we do have some glossary as well. We do have some word meanings from the text here. Macedonian means from Macedonia, southeastern European country. Moreton Bay means a bay located on the eastern coast of Australia. Malting means molting or hair growing. Grappa means a kind of alcoholic beverage, a fragrant grape-based Italian brandy. Eccentric mean unconventional and strange. We do have some more on the right side as well. Let's find it out what we have here. Yes, Muscovy, a kind of large dog of South American origin, and claustrophobic, afraid of living in confined places. Liverwort meat sausage, also known as liver sausage. Croon, Homer sing in a low, soft voice. Vernix, a greasy deposit covering the skin of a baby at birth. And I forgot to tell you the word class noun verb noun, adjective, etc. So you can still have a look at it and find out their word class. Yes, at the bottom we have got exercises which I'm going to do in the next video. Till that time, bye bye. Hope you've learned something for today.